Hello everyone, it is me, Dr. Laserbeam, and this is League of Legends 101, where I go over certain parts of the game, League of Legends. Today we will be going over how to play Jayce, the Defender of Tomorrow, or as I like to call him, the White MC Hammer. Jayce is a ranged and melee fighter champion who has great lane sustain and can deal boatloads of damage while also being tanky. The first thing you should get as Jayce is a Warring Tome, Doran's Blade, and a health pot. After this, you should get the Mana Immune, and after Mana Immune, the Triforce. Our items to consider would be the Black Cleaver, the Frozen Mallet, Boots of Swiftness, Last Whisper, the Bloodthirster, and Warmog's Armor. Your build should be focused on damage, armor / magic penetration, health, and mana regen. Now it's time to look at Jayce's abilities. Unlike other videos, we shall start with his ult rather than his passive. Jayce's ult is Transform Mercury Hammer / Cannon, which switches Jayce between his ranged and melee stance. If Jayce is switched into his melee stance, he will deal extra magic damage on his next attack. If Jayce is switched into his ranged stance, he will make his next attack reduce the target's armor and magic resist for about 5 seconds. It's a good idea to switch between the stances often to get the most out of the effects it has. It also works pretty well with your passive, which I shall talk about later. Jayce's passive is Hextech Capacitor, which gives Jayce 40 more movement speed and allows him to pass through units for about 1 second each time Jayce's ult is activated. This passive isn't great, and there's not much to be said about it, other than it allows you to get to your lane or other areas you need to get to faster. Now we shall get into his other abilities, and I will start by explaining his melee stance's abilities. Jayce's Q in the melee stance is to disguise, which makes Jayce jump to an enemy, slamming into them, dealing physical damage in a small area of effect. This is great on its own, but works a lot better with Jayce's E after using his Q, which I should tell you more about later. Jayce's W is Lightning Field, which has a passive and an active. The passive gives Jayce some mana each time he strikes an enemy in the hammer stance, and his active is an electric field that pairs around Jayce and deals magic damage to nearby enemies. The passive is Jayce's way of getting mana regen early game, so make sure to hit enemies often while in the hammer stance if low on mana. For his active, use it to finish off a weak enemy who is close to Jayce, or use it to deal some extra damage if you take on the enemy while in Jayce's hammer stance. Jayce's E is Thundering Blow, which knocks back enemies dealing magic damage and physical damage. This is such a great ability, since you can use it to finish off a target, save a teammate, or even hit a champ into your own turret. This works great with Jayce's Q because you can jump in, deal some damage, then hit him away before the enemy can do anything. Now that we have gone for all of Jayce's melee abilities, it is time to look at his ranged abilities. We will start with his Q, Shock Blast, which is Jayce's main way to poke down an enemy. However, this ability is weak unless combined with his E, which I shall tell you about soon. Jayce's W is Hypercharge, which gives Jayce the max attack speed available for his next 3 attacks. This is useful for taking turrets and annoying your enemy. However, besides that, not much else could be said about this ability. Jayce's E is Acceleration Gate, which gives Jayce and his allies increased movement speed for a few seconds. But what's even more important than that is what makes Jayce's Q so damn good. If you place Jayce's E and then shoot his Q through his E, this will make his Q have its range, damage, and speed all increased by 40%. Using this ability with his Q is absolutely necessary and absolutely deadly, since it has great range and high damage, while not even allow turrets to protect Jayce's enemies from his wrath. For spells, you should get Flash plus Ignite, Flash plus Barrier, or Flash plus Exhaust. Please note that this applies to every lane. This has been League of Legends 101. Let me know if you found this video to be helpful, and for all you Jayce players out there, let's show the League community why they can't touch this.